Welcome to Focus on Why, the podcast where reflection sparks action. I'm Amy Rowlinson, and together we'll explore compelling stories, profound insights, and transformative experiences from inspiring guests worldwide. Feeling lost or unfulfilled? Searching for clarity, purpose, or meaning in your work and life? This podcast invites you on a journey of self-discovery to align your work with your values, shape your future with intention, and create a purposeful way of life. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Before we dive in, are you considering creating a podcast, or are you already hosting one, but it's not producing the results you desire? As a podcast strategist, I can help you launch or relaunch a purposeful and profitable podcast that will inspire, entertain, and educate a global audience. Book a call with me today. The link is in the show notes, and let's transform your podcast vision into reality. Hello and welcome to episode 477, my 77th solo Reflections with Actions episode. These episodes are where I reflect on what the last 5 guests have shared with me on the show, and I pick up on various topics and share them with you, the actions that have been inspired for me to take, in the hope that they may even inspire you to take action also. Since we last spoke, life has been pretty full and deeply fulfilling. I've delivered meaningful success and purpose workshops, continued with my one-to-one life purpose coaching sessions. I began working with a new podcast mentoring client. I've released 5 new podcast episodes, recorded 4 new ones, held pre-calls with another 5 future guests, and I've run mastermind sessions. I've also been working with my VA on streamlining and improving efficiency across various areas of my business. I've launched a fabulous new monthly accountability group called Connect with Purpose, all while squeezing in accountability and coaching sessions for myself too. It's so important to focus on my own journey as well as supporting those of others. I travelled up to Scotland to support fellow author Rona Morrison at the launch of her new book, From Crime Scenes to Cruise Ships. Go check it out. And enjoyed a cuppa with a long-term client in Edinburgh on the way home. I've been celebrating many friends' birthdays, including my husband's, a school friend's 50th and another friend's 60th. During this time, I've celebrated 700 days sober, painted 2 outbuildings in the garden, and I've planted propagated treasures that I brought with me from my old home. And our new home has now become the new backdrop for many joyful gatherings with friends. Looking back, I'm always fascinated by how much happens between each of these episodes. At the time, it never really feels like much, but sharing it here with you makes me realise just how much purposeful action has shaped these recent weeks. Interestingly, although I felt as though I spent most of the time in the garden, it would appear that I've actually struck a really healthy balance across many areas of my life. Becoming more efficient in my business, outsourcing various tasks to my VA, has allowed me to free up time to focus on what I only need to do or want to do. Hence how I've become able to spend so much time outside in my new fabulous garden. So there you are, that's the roundup of what I've been up to. Now let's dive into my first reflection with action, which is from episode 472, Existential Clarity with Stephen Bruyant-Langer. What does it mean to live a truly meaningful life? Stephen brings decades of coaching and leadership expertise to his heartfelt conversation, sharing how he blends business acumen with a deep commitment to giving back and nurturing enduring values within his family and community. From personal reinvention to the power of human baths and collective belonging, Stephen unpacks practical ways to cultivate happiness, courage, and purpose at every life stage. His secret to thriving through life's transitions: focus on quality relationships and existential clarity. Existential clarity forms the centerpiece of this episode's message, clarity around what truly matters to you and how that shapes your actions moving forward. Have you ever paused to question whether your life ambition, your ability to reinvent yourself, your learning agility, or your courage to commit are genuinely present in your everyday decisions? Stephen encourages you not merely to reflect on these values, but to embed them actively in both your personal and professional life. Consider this. Are you giving yourself the time and space to identify what holds genuine meaning for you? As Stephen describes, existential clarity is not simply an abstract concept. It's something you develop through both thoughtful introspection and committed action. It's what I call reflection with action. Reflect on how you're showing up for those around you. Are you choosing to give back, as Stephen has done in the later stages of his career, by sharing your experience and offering service without the motive of personal gain? Have you considered the long-term direction of your relationships, your work, and the groups or communities to which you belong? Take Stephen's example. He leverages decades of experience, not for profit, but to mentor, guide, and energize others, from his own family to local sports clubs. His decision to seek input from experts in philosophy, psychology, neurology, and strategy for his latest book is a perfect demonstration of reflection with action, recognizing where his perspective could be broadened and taking action to involve others, creating even greater value as a result. As you move on from this episode, ask yourself, will you just consider what matters most, or will you put that insight into action today, shaping your work, your home life, and your wider community around a clear sense of what gives your life meaning? Remember, where your focus goes, your energy flows. The significant thread running through this episode is the idea of existential clarity, the sense of knowing not only what drives you, but also recognizing the evolving nature of your values and ambitions as life progresses. Stephen speaks candidly about transitioning from a phase of life deeply rooted in professional ambition to a more reflective period focused on giving back, sharing wisdom, and nurturing his family and broader community. Another resonant theme is his emphasis on the courage to commit, not merely holding aspirations or reflecting on what could be, but taking deliberate action and being willing to step into responsibility, even if it feels daunting or if the outcome is uncertain. Perhaps, like many people, you recognise yourself in his description. The years of striving, achieving, carrying responsibilities both at work and home, sometimes postponing parts of life that might bring you joy or fulfilment. It's easy to fall into the pattern of waiting for the external circumstances to change, but Stephen's message encourages you to shift that perspective, reminding you need to create your own basis for development and your own foundation. There's no risk in making choices. Now let's distill these insights into intentional actions that you could start today. Seek your existential clarity. Set aside some quiet time this week to reflect on your own life's direction. What at your core truly matters to you? What sort of life would feel meaningful, not just successful by external standards, but fulfilling at a deeper level? One practical way to do this is using the exercise I include in my book, Focus on Why. It's called a life map, where you record significant milestones or events that have impacted you, along with any beliefs you formed from them, obstacles encountered, challenges faced, failures, successes, best and worst decisions that you've made, and any risks you've taken. Allocate at least 2 to 3 hours to do this exercise in one sitting, as it's a fairly substantial undertaking. On completion, take time to reflect and observe emerging patterns and trends. What stands out for you? Challenge your judgments, desires, aversions, motivations, and impulses. Journal candidly about these aspects and question whether they truly align with your authentic self. Are your actions driven by genuine reasons? Identify any limiting beliefs, assumptions, fears, or self-doubts holding you back from living a purposeful life. Challenge those beliefs by seeking evidence to the contrary or reframing them in a more empowering way. How can you shift your mindset to a growth-oriented perspective? Examine past events that prompted you to question your beliefs or act contrary to your values. These events provide valuable insights into the stance you take in the world. Reflect on how these events have been significant lessons in shaping your growth and influencing your current path. Prioritize quality in your relationships. Stephen speaks about quality in relationships being a central element to a life well lived. His wife's wisdom, "There is no quality time, it's only a question of time," is a gentle nudge to re-examine your priorities. Are you present with your family and friends, or are you caught up in busyness? Choose just one relationship, be it with a partner, a child, a parent, or a friend, and make a plan to spend uninterrupted time with them this week. Even a phone call counts if distance is an issue. The point here is to give your entire focus, your undivided attention to that person, sowing the seeds of memories that will, as Stephen says, stick for a lifetime. Commit, even if only in small ways. Courage to commit isn't just for life's big decisions. Start with small but meaningful choices. Is there something you've long wanted to start, a project, a hobby, a new routine, but felt you should wait for a better time? Let Stephen's mantra embolden you. It's not about waiting for permission from life. Pick one thing and set a gentle, realistic action in motion. Book that pottery class, schedule those walks in nature, or if you're drawn to helping others, offer your expertise in a volunteer capacity, even if it's just an hour's phone call to someone who could use your perspective. Allow yourself fun and freedom. Stephen reflects on the liberation and joy he finds in simple pleasures, from running and chatting with a fishmonger to the uninhibited camaraderie of a rock festival. These are reminders that you don't need to earn moments of fun. As Dr. Happiness, aka Edward Diener's research suggests, having an ice cream from time to time is vital, although I prefer sorbet. Give yourself permission to enjoy a small treat or indulgence this week. Let go of guilt. The world won't fall apart if you pause for a coffee in the sun or walk in the park or meet a friend for laughter. Such moments lift your spirit and recharge your energy for the responsibilities you bear. Be a role model unknowingly. Remember, as Stephen beautifully observes, you may never know which moments will leave a lasting imprint on others, be it a child, a colleague, or even a stranger you greet on the street. Embrace the responsibility of your example, not with pressure, but with mindfulness. Your words and actions can shape someone's memory or trajectory in ways you'll rarely see. Stephen shared how after 35 years of coaching, teaching and recruiting, he's pivoted his focus towards giving back, championing projects and people where the rewards are measured in meaning rather than money. His work now flows naturally from his relationships, a desire to serve and a keen awareness that sometimes our greatest value is in simply offering wisdom to others, often through transformative conversations that help broaden perspectives beyond the immediate. He's distilled his life learnings into 4 fundamental values: life ambition, knowing where you want to go; learning agility, the ability to adapt, especially when you don't know what's next; personal reinvention, embracing pivots and transitions as they arrive; and the courage to commit, moving from intention to resolute action. It's not always easy, especially at the inflection points in life. But as Stephen reminds us, transitions, not the phases themselves, are often where our growth lies. What are we really seeking? For Stephen, it's existential clarity, understanding what matters to you at your core and aligning your life accordingly. This is also the promise to his clients, helping them find clarity, not just in what they do, but in who they are. A major personal revelation for Stephen, he's become less individualist and more collectivist. Whether that's with his family, his boxing and running clubs, or his annual rock festival camp, he emphasises the immeasurable value of belonging and daily human baths, the small but significant connections that refuel us. What are the core memories you're passing on? It's in the simple things: time spent with grandparents in nature, small rituals, kindness, those practices that create lasting meaning for the next generation. Focus on quality, not just quantity, in your relationships and time. Don't wait for the perfect circumstances. Commit now. Prioritise fun, freedom and kindness, including to yourself. Remember, the best way is often through. Confront life's challenges head on. This reminds me of that lovely children's book, We're Going on a Bear Hunt, by Michael Rosen and beautifully illustrated by Helen Oxenbury, where every obstacle they face throughout the book, they realise that they can't go round it, can't go over it, they can't go under it. They have to go through it. They have to address it head on. When Stephen shared that line in this episode, this is where I went mentally. I went straight to that children's book. My final reflection is, where your focus goes, energy flows. Let that guide you this week. Choose where you place your attention and intention. It's from these small choices that a meaningful, purpose-filled life emerges. You don't have to orchestrate a grand reinvention overnight. Start with one small, intentional act rooted in reflection, and let that be your focus for now. Next up is episode 473, Talking Matters with Brydon Duncan. Why are young men struggling so profoundly with their mental health, and what can we do, practically and immediately, to break the silence? In this deeply moving episode, I sat down with Brydon, a 20-year-old student, athlete and mental health advocate who has turned his own struggles into a courageous campaign for change. Through his new documentary, Breaking the Circle, Brydon tackles one of the most pressing and heartbreaking issues of our time: the rising suicide rates among young men and the urgent need for early education, safe spaces and authentic conversations about mental health. This is a journey marked by challenge and purpose. Brydon's story begins with experiences many will recognise: bullying during school years, the sense of isolation it brings, and the difficulty of expressing what's truly going on inside. For Brydon, these challenges were compounded by living with autism, which made forming connections and reading social cues more difficult. The combination created a storm of loneliness and self-doubt that could easily have silenced him completely. Instead, Brydon chose another path. Through self-reflection, support from those who met him with patience rather than pressure, and the courage to speak openly about his experiences, he found a way forward. Not only did he seek help when he was ready, but he has since channeled those experiences into purposeful action. First through Breaking the Circle, and now through plans to launch a dedicated mental health charity. Why talking matters. Despite significant progress in destigmatising mental health in recent years, Brydon highlights a stark truth: young men still struggle to talk about their emotions, especially the difficult ones. Societal expectations around masculinity, fear of being judged, and a lack of safe, judgment-free spaces keep too many silent. For Brydon, this isn't just a cultural observation, it's personal. He knows what it's like to keep feelings bottled up, and he's seen the difference it makes when someone offers genuine, non-judgmental presence. Talking is the only way that we can help one another, he says. It's the only way that we can connect as humans, and connection is the most important and powerful thing that we have. I agree. Brydon's advice is simple yet profound. If you sense someone struggling, don't rush them, interrogate them, or push them into seeking help before they're ready. Instead, make it clear you're there for them. Show up consistently, let them know they're not alone. And if you're the one struggling, don't wait for the perfect words. Just saying "I'm not okay" can be the first step towards healing. One of the biggest shifts Brydon has witnessed and experienced is the role of social media in amplifying mental health challenges. Bullying used to end at the school gates. Now it follows young people home, living in their phones and their feeds. This constant presence of negativity and comparison can be relentless, leaving little space for mental recovery. That's why Brydon's approach focuses on meeting young people where they already are. His documentary is not just a film, it's a catalyst for conversation, using formats and platforms that resonate with younger audiences. He's also developing short-form, relatable content to be shared in schools, sports clubs, and online spaces, ensuring the message reaches those who need it most. This is a call for early, effective education. Brydon is passionate about modernising mental health education. The old models, occasional assemblies, clinical language, or distant experts don't engage the young people most at risk. Instead, he envisions interactive, empathetic education that helps individuals understand the impact of their actions, recognise the signs of someone struggling, and feel empowered to offer support. If you educate people, they're less likely to get involved with such things. Help them understand the actual effect of what they're doing. This isn't just about preventing harm, it's about equipping the next generation with the tools to create a culture of openness and care. One of the strongest threads running through Brydon's story is a reminder that change doesn't always start at the top. It starts with individuals taking small, deliberate actions. You don't have to launch a charity or produce a documentary to make a difference. You can begin by educating yourself, learning to recognise the signs of low mood or anxiety, and engaging in open conversations in your own circles. Challenge dismissive banter that might mask or perpetuate harm. Make space for emotional honesty in places it feels uncomfortable, because that's often where it's needed most. As Brydon's journey shows, reflection is valuable, but reflection paired with purposeful action is transformative, not just for you, but for everyone your life touches. Social media has made bullying an inescapable presence, increasing its emotional and psychological toll. Discussing emotions isn't weakness, it's a lifeline. Presence without pressure can open doors to healing. Tailored, relatable mental health education can prevent harm and create more supportive communities. Brydon's autism made social connection harder, but his advocacy work has given him both meaning and a platform to help others. His story also serves as a blueprint for transforming hardship into purpose. Instead of allowing his challenges to define or limit him, he used them as fuel for something larger than himself. His why is deeply personal, but its impact is universal. Inner peace, he says, isn't about chasing constant happiness or external validation. It's about building authentic connections, accepting life's ups and downs, and finding contentment in the moments where you feel truly seen and supported. You can begin creating this space for yourself by checking in daily. How am I feeling? Really? Rate it out of 10. Notice patterns, identify the people, activities, and spaces that bring genuine connection, and make more room for them. As you reflect on the episode, consider how you can bring these principles into your own life. Ask yourself, how can I modernize my approach to difficult conversations, making them more engaging, relevant, and empathetic? Who in my life might need my presence right now, without judgment or pressure? If I'm struggling, who can I reach out to today? Remember, you don't have to have all the answers. The act of listening, without agenda, can be enough to start a ripple of change. So what's next for Brydon? Well, he's not stopping with a documentary. His next step is to establish a charity focused on mental health awareness, targeting schools, sports clubs, and workplaces. His goal is to create safe places and spaces for honest dialogue and practical support, ensuring that young people, especially young men, know they have options, resources, and allies. This conversation is a powerful reminder that talking truly matters. It matters for the person who feels unseen, for the friend unsure how to help, and for the community trying to understand how to prevent loss. It matters because connection is our greatest tool for change, and it's built one conversation at a time. Brydon's journey proves that meaningful transformation often starts with a single decision: to speak, to listen, or to act. Reflection brings clarity, but when paired with intentional, compassionate action, it has the power to save lives. So as you finish this episode, ask yourself, what's my next step? Will I reach out to someone? Will I start a conversation? Will I educate myself or advocate in my own community? Because in the end, the silence won't break itself, and the change we need starts with us. Sometimes the most remarkable conversations come from a ripple effect you could never have planned. This next episode, 474, Prosperity Pathways with Joel Salomon, is one such example. My introduction to Joel traces back through a wonderful chain of purposeful connections. Shelley Starks, episode 454, introduced me to Joel. Shelley was introduced to me by Freeman Beals, episode 361, who I met on a Zoom call hosted by Jill Tiney, episode 347. That alone is a reminder of the powerful, sometimes invisible, networks that form when people live and act with purpose. Joel Salomon is no stranger to the world of finance. As a former hedge fund manager, he's handled multi-million-dollar portfolios, navigated complex market conditions, and dealt with the intense pressures of investment management. But his story takes a surprising turn. A transformative personal development experience shifted his perspective, not just on money, but on what it means to live a truly abundant life. Today, Joel describes himself as a prosperity coach. His mission? To help at least 100,000 people achieve financial freedom. Not as an end in itself, but as a foundation for something bigger, living with purpose, serving others, and creating lasting impact. In our conversation, Joel dismantles the idea that prosperity is purely about numbers. He argues that true financial well-being combines practical strategy with mindset mastery and, importantly, alignment between your career and your passions. Many of us are taught to view financial success as a linear, logical process. Learn the systems, crunch the numbers, make the right moves, and the outcome will follow. Joel challenges this view. While he values financial literacy, he believes mindset sits at the very heart of prosperity. Our beliefs about money, often formed in childhood or shaped by societal narratives, can either empower or sabotage us. If you believe money is scarce, hard to earn, or morally questionable, those beliefs will quietly direct your actions and decisions. If you see money as a tool for impact, generosity, and freedom, you'll approach it with more openness and creativity. Joel's own life provides an example. As a hedge fund manager, he occasionally ignored his gut feelings in favour of conventional analysis and often regretted it. He began documenting his intuitive hits when making investment decisions and was struck by the consistency of positive results when he trusted them. That realisation extended beyond finance and into his life decisions, including his bold choice to leave the hedge fund world entirely. This is one of Joel's strongest messages: power of intuition in prosperity. That intuition and logic are partners, not opposites. Data and analysis have their place, but so do gut feelings, synchronicities, and subtle signs. He talks about actively inviting signs into his day, whether through guided meditation or by simply paying attention. Often these come as repeated symbols, phrases, or encounters that affirm a decision or nudge him toward a new one. Some may consider this woo-woo, but this practice is far from being woo-woo. This practice taps into how the brain works. As I noted during our discussion, the reticular activating system filters the vast sensory input we receive, highlighting what aligns with our focus. If you decide to look for opportunities, you'll start noticing them everywhere. Joel encourages everyone to tune into their emotional state when making choices. Does this action bring joy, gratitude, and excitement, or does it feel heavy and draining? The goal is to operate from a state of positive energy, what he calls high vibration, because that energy naturally attracts more opportunities, resources, and support. A recurring theme in this episode is the alignment of working with passion. Too often, people separate what they love from how they earn a living, assuming it's impractical to combine the two. Joel flips that script. He challenges listeners to explore their hobbies, interests, and sources of joy, then consider how these could form the basis of a career or business. Financial prosperity is far more sustainable, he argues, when it's fueled by passion. Not only does it make the journey more enjoyable, but it also allows you to serve others with greater authenticity and enthusiasm. As with all Focus on Why episodes, this isn't just about reflection, it's about coupling that insight with deliberate action. So here are 5 practical ways that Joel suggests to start aligning prosperity with purpose. 1. A daily intuition check-in. Spend 5 quiet minutes each day asking yourself, what am I drawn to today? Don't overanalyze, just notice your responses and feelings. 2. Track synchronicities. Keep a notebook for meaningful coincidences, signs, or patterns. Review them weekly to spot the themes. 3. Raise your vibration. Identify one area of your work or finances that feels heavy. Ask, what would make this more joyful? And take one small action towards that change. 4. Learn without fear. Fill gaps in your financial knowledge with curiosity rather than anxiety. Choose resources that feel engaging and relevant to you. 5. Pause before deciding. Give your intention space to speak before committing to a choice, especially in financial matters. Joel shared his decision to walk away from his hedge fund after attending that personal development course. And that course challenged his core assumptions and made him confront the harm caused by misleading financial narratives. The reflection was uncomfortable, but it ignited a decisive, courageous action, returning investors' money and dedicating himself to teaching others how to achieve financial freedom. This is a vivid reminder of the reflection-action loop, recognizing what no longer aligns, having the courage to pivot, and then building something purposeful from that pivot. So I'll ask you again, Are you willing to reflect on your own relationship with money? What is your money story? What did you learn growing up? Are those beliefs serving or limiting you now? Do you feel secure enough financially to pursue your purpose fully? Where might fear or doubt be holding you back? These questions aren't abstract, they point you towards practical action. Perhaps your next step is having an open conversation about finances, finding a mentor, or creating a simple system for saving and investing. The key is to move from thought to action. Ultimately, Joel frames prosperity not as a selfish pursuit, but as a means to expand your impact. When you're financially free, you have more choices, more time, more resources, and more energy to dedicate to what matters most. Prosperity becomes the soil in which purposeful action can flourish. This episode is a call to stop seeing money and meaning as separate. They can and should coexist. Financial confidence allows you to contribute more boldly, while purpose keeps your pursuit of wealth grounded in values and service. As you listen, notice which part of Joel's story resonates with you most. Is it the courage to leave a misaligned career, the emphasis on intuition, the blending of passion and income? Choose one takeaway and act on it this week, because prosperity, as Joel defines it, isn't a distant goal. It's a pathway you create daily through small, intentional choices that align your mindset, your actions, and your purpose. Next up is episode 475, Relinquishing Grievances with Louisa Hext. Louisa was introduced to me by my previous guest, Madeline Black, from episode 155, Unbroken. Thank you, Madeline, for bringing us together. When life presents betrayal, injustice, or unexpected loss, our instinct is to hold on to our story, our grievances, our sense of wrong. We replay the narrative until it shapes our reality. So much energy is spent clinging to the hurt that we rarely imagine what it might mean to let go. Louisa's journey is a testament to the quiet, persistent power of relinquishment. Not the grand sweep of forgiveness we often picture, but the gentle, ongoing act of releasing grievances again and again. Wrongly accused and forced to rebuild her life, she moved from bitterness and blame through a decade-long reckoning, slowly unpeeling layers of pain until she stood face to face with herself. There was no sudden absolution. Instead, it was a steady recalibration. As Louisa says, we don't run away from pain and suffering, we feel into it. When you're feeling uncomfortable, you're probably doing the work. Relinquishment is not passive surrender. It's active, courageous loosening of the grip of convictions and resentments that keep us hostage. Often it's the small, everyday triggers that offer the best practice. The flash of anger when cut up on the motorway, the helplessness of identity theft, the ache of being misjudged. Each is an invitation to notice, pause, and resist the pull of reactive bitterness. By widening our perspective, we see that relinquishment isn't about denying hurt or pretending wounds are insignificant. It's about choosing not to let them define us indefinitely. That choice reclaims our energy for what matters, our integrity, our purpose, and the ongoing narrative of our lives. Louisa's story doesn't gloss over pain, but it offers hope without sentimentality. True progress comes not from the fantasy of moving on, but from the grit and grace of relinquishing, over and over, what no longer serves us. In doing so, we create space for something new, self-compassion, clarity of purpose, and the peace that comes from releasing an old story for something lighter. What grievance, story, or identity might you gently relinquish, just a little, today? How might it feel to loosen your grip and create space for something new? Where have you been holding on to anger, blame, or betrayal? And how might releasing these, even slightly, free you to live more fully? It's not about bypassing your feelings, but honouring and understanding them before taking intentional steps towards the life you truly want. If you listened closely to Louisa's words, you may have felt those shivers she described, physical responses to deep truth. This episode's thread of struggle, resilience, and self-reflection invite you to consider what they mean in your own life. I asked her to tap into the tingle, because I've noticed that discussing the why often elicits this primal response of goosebumps, and it signals personal and meaningful experiences whatever that is for the individual. It could be inspiration, pride, excitement, connection. It doesn't matter. It's about celebrating those goosebumps and noticing when they occur that they are indicating an authentic significance. So tap into that tingle, because when I asked Louisa what they meant, it led to an incredible understanding. Louisa spoke about curiosity being the core ingredient of growth. And she asked herself, why did this happen? What does this feeling mean? She doesn't demand instant answers or resolution. Instead, she allows space for discomfort and uncertainty, recognizing that discomfort often signals meaningful inner work. For you, the invitation is to meet your own responses with gentle curiosity. When a trigger arises, pause before reacting. Where do you feel the emotion in your body? Is there a tightening, a knot in your stomach? Does it have a texture, a colour, or a temperature? Simply noticing without judgment can be so freeing. And from there, explore. What boundary has been crossed? What old story or belief might be colouring your reaction? If you adopted Louisa's approach, stepping back, breathing, reflecting, what alternative meaning might you assign? I call this, as you know, reflection with action. Remember, you're not bound to your first habitual response. With awareness and intention, you can choose a response aligned with your values rather than being dictated by old wounds. Over the next week, practice noticing when grievances arise, especially in small daily interactions. Experiment with letting go, just for a moment, the urge to replay, blame, or ruminate. At the same time, when a strong emotion surfaces, tap into the tingle. Locate it in your body and explore it with curiosity without rushing to resolve it. By weaving these practices into your life, you're not just listening to your story, you're embodying its lessons. Louisa's journey shows that becoming more open-hearted, resilient, and purposeful is perfectly possible, even after the hardest of experiences. This is not about reaching a perfect state where grievances never arise. It's about honesty and intention, recognizing when you're holding on and choosing, when you can, to loosen your grip. Let your reactions spark action, however small. Relinquishment is rarely a single dramatic act. More often, it's a daily choice to set down what no longer serves you, making space for peace, purpose, and connection. That's focus on why, put into practice. My final focus for today is episode 476, Behind the Scenes with Watkin. Catherine is returning as a guest to Focus on Why, this time sharing a deeply personal conversation about her health rather than her business. She previously featured in episode 187, Business from the Heart, and in this episode she opens up about a challenging chapter that she's rarely discussed publicly, her long battle with a misunderstood health condition that's profoundly altered her life and sense of self. Catherine is a good friend, and when we spoke about recording a new episode, Catherine was reluctant to go into the places that she actually ended up going on the episode, and then afterwards was then reluctant about sharing it. And I persuaded her to share the episode because I believe it shows the credible, authentic version of what we're all going through on a daily basis, and it will really help people to understand what success means, what's important, and how actually health must come first. So here it is, her episode, unedited, unfiltered, raw and vulnerable. She opens up about her journey through 18 years of undiagnosed health challenges and the revelations that followed. She shares how prioritizing health, embracing acceptance, and letting go of old ambitions led her to redefine success. You'll discover how business, identity, and wellness intertwine, and why she now believes that real success is found in the quality of everyday moments. This is a heartfelt exploration of resilience, authenticity, and purpose. And this is why Catherine really does take you behind the scenes. Her story is evolving, and it's a powerful reminder that real transformation begins with acceptance, not of an idealised version of life, but of the reality we face. For years, Catherine tried to push through her declining health, determined to maintain momentum in her business and life. Like many high achievers, her instinct was to resist, to fight against what felt unfair or unjust, but this relentless struggle came at a cost: exhaustion, frayed relationships, and a painful crisis of identity. Eventually, Catherine discovered that acceptance isn't resignation. Instead, it's a courageous, active choice to acknowledge the truth of one's situation without denial or blame. She describes acceptance as a necessary foundation for healing and growth, an opening to new possibilities that don't require clinging to old ambitions or identities. Rather than giving up, Catherine defined success on her own terms. No longer measured by financial milestones or external validation, success came to mean prioritizing her health, savouring moments of presence, and embracing life's rhythm with gentleness. This shift allowed her to work with her reality, not against it, and has created new space for new meaning and new purpose. One of the most profound lessons that Catherine shares is the distinction between acceptance and defeat. Acceptance means recognizing limits and pain without surrendering hope or effort. Catherine continues to seek treatments and improvements, but does so from a place of self-compassion rather than resistance. As she puts it, on the one hand, I can accept that this is the way it is, and at the same time, I can work towards changing it. This balance between acceptance and action provides a sustainable way forward, avoiding the exhaustion of fighting a battle that can't be won by sheer willpower alone. As her journey highlights, a crucial insight often overlooked in our achievement-driven culture is that health is the ultimate foundation for a meaningful life. For years, Catherine pursued traditional markers of success, business growth, accolades, public recognition, while neglecting her well-being. When her health faltered, those markers lost their meaning. Her honesty about this shift is striking. The only thing that really matters in life is our health. This simple truth invites us to reflect on whether we're protecting our well-being or pushing ourselves towards goals that undermine it. Are you, like Catherine once was, holding on to outdated definitions of success? Are you measuring your worth by external achievements while your body or mind signals a need for rest and care? Catherine's experience suggests it's not failure to adapt, but wisdom. Inspired by Catherine's story, here are some practical reflections and actions to consider. The first one is clear. Prioritize your health. Begin evaluating your daily decisions through the lens of well-being. Are you saying yes when you should say no? Are you allowing time for rest and support? Even small shifts can build a stronger foundation. 2. Take an honest inventory. Identify areas of your life where you're resisting reality. Are there health concerns, personal limits, or circumstances you find hard to accept? Write these down with honesty. 3. Practice acceptance. For each challenge, imagine what it would mean to accept it as your current truth. This doesn't mean giving up on improvement, but rather embracing your present situation as a starting point for wise choices. 4. Redefine success. Reflect on whether your current goals and values align with your present reality. Can success look different, perhaps quieter, slower, or more internally fulfilling without losing its meaning? 5. Seek support. Remember that healing and acceptance happen in community. Reach out for medical, emotional, or practical help. Sharing your story with trusted others can ease isolation and encourage resilience. So my invitation to you is to focus on letting go to move forward. Catherine's journey offers a hopeful message. Letting go of certain expectations is not the end, but a new beginning. Acceptance creates freedom, the freedom to shape a life aligned with your evolving truth rather than a fixed ideal. It's an ongoing process marked by cycles of hope, disappointment, and renewal. Her story encourages us to stop the exhausting struggle against what is, to pause, heal, and then choose our path forward with intention. As Catherine says, if we come from accepting the reality of what is and what cannot be changed, I think life becomes so much more enjoyable. Where in your life might you be resisting reality, fighting a situation that could become less burdensome if met with acceptance? What might you gain if you chose to accept something just for today? Acceptance is not about giving up or lowering standards. It's about honouring your truth and building from there, allowing your purpose to evolve as you do. By following Catherine's example, you establish patience, resilience, and clarity, discovering that true success comes from embracing the whole of your experience. Let this episode be an invitation to pause and reflect on your relationship with acceptance, health, and success. What will you accept today, and how will you let that acceptance shape your purposeful life? The core messages within all these 5 episodes focus on what really matters, and they endorse what I share in my book, Focus on Why, Create a Purposeful Way of Life. I created a 9-step framework which is broken down into 3 parts. Part 1, Purpose, centers on your perception and understanding of the world. Purpose serves as your guiding light. It infuses clarity, passion, and authenticity into your everyday actions, empowering you to create impact, contribute meaningfully, and experience fulfillment. Step 1, control the controllables. Focus your energy on what you can influence. Step 2, challenge the status quo. Question assumptions and outdated narratives. Step 3, capture what matters. Identify and honour what's truly important to you. Part 2, Plan, focuses on conscious decision-making and intentional action. A solid plan helps you break your purpose into achievable milestones and move forward deliberately. Step 4, choose your actions. Make intentional, values-aligned decisions. Step 5, create and craft a plan. Design a structure that turns your vision into reality. Step 6, collaborate to amplify impact. Share your mission with others and co-create purpose. Finally, Part 3, Focus. This emphasizes commitment, contribution, and adaptability. Your focus helps sustain momentum and alignment as your purpose naturally evolves over time. Step 7, commit wholeheartedly with unwavering focus. Stay anchored to your why when distractions arise. Step 8, contribute to create positive ripple effects. Serve something bigger than yourself. Step 9, change with your evolving purpose. Reflect and adapt continuously. Together, these 9 steps form a flexible, repeatable structure for creating a meaningful life, whatever that looks like for you now. If you need help with your purpose, please do check out my book, or alternatively, you can book in a call with me today. The link is in the show notes. Whatever action you choose to take, focus on why. This episode's over, but let's keep the conversation going. How has this episode impacted you? Share your insights, takeaways, and reflections with actions on social media, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback creates powerful ripple effects, helping others to discover its value. Want to dive deeper into purpose? Check the show notes for links on how to work with me, where to buy my new book, Focus on Why, Create a Purposeful Way of Life, available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook, and where to sign up for Friday Focus, my weekly newsletter. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.